Hello everyone, today I'll be reviewing The Night of the Hunter. So The Night of the Hunter came out in 1955 and was directed by Charles Laughton. So this film starts off with this character who is a father. He's a father of two kids and he has a wife as well, played by Shelley Winters. And at the start of this film he murders two people and he steals $10,000 from a bank. And he rushes back home and he says to his son, hide this money and don't tell anybody where it is. So the police come and they arrest the man and they take him to prison. And then while in prison, this man shares a cell with Robert Mitchum's character, who is Reverend Harry Powell. He learns about this $10,000 and this money. When he is released from prison, he meets up with the wife, played by Shelley Winters, and the two kids. And he essentially wants to find this $10,000 and he wants to get access to this money. And he ends up being very manipulative and ends up marrying Shelley Winters' character, but the two children, they really don't want to say where the money is and they really don't trust him. And as the story goes on, we really see a darker side to Robert Mitchum's character and he becomes a real evil presence in this film. So first of all, it is worth saying that Charles Laughton directed this film, and Charles Laughton was a British actor, so who is much better known as being an actor, being in many great films from this era. And this was actually the only film that he directed, and I believe the reason he didn't direct more films was because this film, it was not a success at all when it came out. It was not a success critically or commercially. It just didn't do very well at all, and it really put off Charles Laughton directing further films, which is a real shame because given that this is the only film that Laughton directed, it's absolutely incredible. It's a fantastic movie. It has a very gothic feel to it and it's a unique film. It's quite hard to compare this film to other films, although it is a thriller, it has lots of scary moments, it's very suspenseful. It's just so different to any other film, especially from this era. This film is shot in black and white. Obviously this was a time when, movies, it was more common for movies to be in colour by this time, and also this was quite a narrow ratio instead of the wide cinema scopes with lots of other epic films from this era. So perhaps that's the reason it wasn't too successful, but it's a film that became more of a cult classic a few decades after. Now the star of this film is absolutely Robert Mitchum. The way he plays this Reverend Powell character, just very menacing and very suspicious. He tells these stories about how he has love and hate tattooed on his hands. One he has L-O-V-E, the other H-A-T-E, and how there was a constant battle between the two of them. And the way he talks, he manages to convince all these people in this village that he is a good person and that, he is a man of God, he is a preacher, and that he is trying to do the right thing. And then we have Shelley Winters' character. Obviously the two of them get married, but Shelley Winters' character, she comes across as very, very vulnerable and quite gullible really, and she's really sucked in to what Harry Powell is saying. And when he's preaching, she's really listening to him and wants to do everything that he says. The poor two kids, who are called John and Pearl, they're absolutely helpless and they can't do anything about this, and they're seeing this happen before their very eyes. We're later do get introduced to Lillian Gish's character, and if you haven't heard of Lillian Gish before, she was often known as the First Lady of American cinema. She was in lots of films in the 1910s, with ones like The Birth of a Nation and Intolerance, directed by D.W. Griffith. So in this film, she was a bit older, she was in her 60s at this point, and she gives a fantastic performance. And she's a real different character to anyone else in the film, because she's a character who sees people for who they really are. And when we're introduced to her, she's almost this guardian of these unwanted children who are in this area. And she has some excellent scenes, particularly when she finally meets Harry Powell. And there's this very iconic shot in the film of her sitting in this chair with this shotgun, and then Harry Powell sitting outside, and they're both singing a song. It's a very eerie, very odd scene, but it really works in the context of this film. I have to also mention, in terms of the cinematography, this is a beautiful looking film. Obviously, as I mentioned, it is filmed in black and white, but that often works to its advantage, to be honest, because this film has lots of silhouettes, lots of shadows, and the way everything is lit, it really suits the mood of the film. There's this fantastic way that the character of Harry Powell is introduced to the children, and we see his silhouette of his head and his hat against the bedroom wall, and that is just a very effective way of introducing this character. And it is actually a moment when the character John is talking about something evil coming into their lives. So it's just the way that everything fits together in this film, just the flow of the story, the way these characters are introduced, the way it is filmed, the way it's shot and directed. It's all incredible, especially thinking that, you know, as I said, this was the only film Charles Laughton ever directed. So if I was to say anything particularly bad in this film, there aren't many, but there is one particular scene which is towards the end of the film, which I won't spoil too much, but it's almost a bit of a comedy moment. I'm not sure if it was supposed to be a comedy moment, but it certainly came across like that when I was watching it. And I just don't think the moment, although it's only really a few seconds, a very brief moment, it doesn't seem to suit the rest of the film. And unfortunately, it is in quite a pivotal moment in the film. It's towards the end of the film. I'm not going to spoil what it is exactly, but if you've watched it, you might know what I mean. I don't really want to spoil it because, well, I'd like you to watch it for yourself and obviously make up your mind. It's just my personal opinion. But to be honest, the rest of this film is so incredibly impressive that bit, it doesn't bother me at all. And this is still such an amazing film. And, you know, just a little moment like that is not enough to tarnish this film in my mind. It's an incredible thriller, just an amazing movie altogether. So overall, as you can probably tell, I love The Night of the Hunter. This was the second time I'd seen it, and yeah, I was really looking forward going back into watching this again because I knew I would love it. And it's a timeless film. I don't really think it has dated very much, apart from the odd rear projection when the characters are driving, which is to be expected from a film in this era. But this film gets everything absolutely right. And I must also mention the fantastic music as well. So overall, I'm going to give The Night of the Hunter a rating of 10 out of 10. If you're someone who enjoys thrillers and you like films that put you on the edge of your seat and you like interesting characters, this is definitely going to be a film that you're going to enjoy. And also, I picked up the Arrow Academy Blu-ray behind me, and it gives a really clear picture and excellent sound quality as well. So if you're able to, definitely pick up that version of it. So there we go. So that is my review of The Night of the Hunter. So what do you guys think? Have you seen The Night of the Hunter? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Please let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments section below. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.